With the first Republican primary debate just over a week away, GOP candidates are working to chip away at that sizable lead of the frontrunner, former President Donald Trump.
And one of those candidates is Trump's former Vice President Mike Pence. And our very own Linsey Davis sat down with Pence in Iowa. Take a look.
On Friday, there was a special counsel appointed to deal with matters related to Hunter Biden. Is it your belief that you would make this part of the campaign, the president's son, his private dealings?
Well, I think the appointment of special counsel is welcome, and frankly, it's overdue. I mean, where the Attorney General has a conflict of interest, the law requires that a special counsel be appointed. And I don't understand why it's taken this long. With so many questions swirling around Hunter Biden and the president's family during the time that he was vice president of the United States, that now and only now we have a special counsel appointed. I hope that they'll do their job without fear or favor, but the appointment of a prosecutor who was already involved in these investigations has undermined confidence. That's why I'm also grateful that House Republicans will continue to examine the facts, examine the record, and bring it forward to the American people. I must tell you the suggestion that while he was vice president of the United States, the now president of the United States was in some way connected or involved in conversations while his son was dealing with foreign nationals is deeply troubling to me as a former vice president. It should be deeply troubling to every American. The American people have a right to know. They have a right to know what the facts are. And I trust between the Congress and the special counsel that the American people will have those facts.
Since the most recent indictment, Trump has really come out on Truth Social blasting you, most recently saying that you've gone over to the dark side. How do you respond to that?
Well, I don't, really. Look, I know the former president pretty well. I think more and more Americans every day are getting to know us. They're getting to know our lifetime of commitment to the conservative agenda. And I'm very heartened by the fact, and you saw it at the Iowa State Fair this week, how many people come up to us on a regular basis and thank us for the stand that we took on that fateful day. So I'll be taking my record to the American people, and the president can continue to do what he does. He can continue to hold forth and level his broadsides. But for me, I'm not going to engage in negative personal attacks. I'm going to draw the contrast, lay out the choice, and focus on how we make this country more prosperous and more secure after the disastrous policies of President Joe Biden in the White House.
Since we're here in Iowa, there was a recent poll, the Des Moines Register, that said 70% of the women here believe that abortion should be legal in all or most cases. Nationwide, I believe that number is just shy of that for men and women. If that's the case, why push for something that Americans are saying they don't want?
Well, there are things more important than politics. And I believe that restoring the sanctity of life to the center of American law is the calling of our times. Now, it may take us as long to restore the sanctity of life in American law as it took us to overturn Roe versus Wade, but whatever the future holds for me and my family, I'll be a champion for that. But I also want to tell you, Linsey, I reject the notion that standing for the right to life is a political loser. I mean, you can look at races around the country, governors in Ohio and Georgia and other states that signed heartbeat bills that banned abortion after 6 weeks. Those governors were strongly reelected in those states. Here in Iowa, Governor Kim Reynolds supported a similar bill and before her reelection, and she was reelected in a landslide. I think the way forward for Republicans to stand on principle and with compassion.
And joining us now is Linsey Davis. I'm so curious, what stood out to you in your conversation with the former vice president?
You know, Mike Pence has said on a number of occasions that he is a Christian, a conservative, and a Republican in that order. But what really comes through in this conversation is how he's so faith-forward, how his faith is really his North Star, how he talks about how this informs not only how he lives, but his policy, his politics. I joked with him at one point about how the editor of his home hometown paper said that Mike Pence wanted to be president almost as soon as he popped out of the womb. And he said that this isn't a desire or a want, but this is a calling on his life. He looks at it in very much the same way that a pastor would.
Yeah, and I wanted to hear more of the interview. And speaking of more, you're going to have more tonight on your show, ABC News Live, Live Prime. Sorry about that. But what can we look forward to in this interview?
You know, in addition to trying to make a lot of distinctions between himself and his former running mate, he also talks about his vision for America, what it would be like if he were president. But we also hear from Karen Pence, his wife, and she talks with us for the first time about what she was thinking and feeling inside the Capitol on January 6th, and that poignant moment where we've seen that picture of her pulling the curtains once protesters have already breached the Capitol. So it's a really fascinating conversation with both of them.
That's a good get. Can't wait to hear her side of the story.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing the whole interview. Thank you,
Thanks,
Linsey.
guys.
And you can see Linsey's full interview with former Vice President Pence beginning tonight at 7 Eastern on Prime. That's our streaming channel, ABC News Live.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.